Well, let's get into the mortgage market a little bit real quick. So I'm just going to give you some headlines that we ran across this past week that kind of gives you an idea. First headline says, China to ask U.S. to remove tariffs in exchange for ag buys in talks Friday, right? So trying to get some resolution there. Next headline, bonds having a hard time trying to improve. We'll touch on that. Next one, mortgage rates turn higher after a strong start. Wall Street gains as earnings season begins in earnest, right? So earnings season is in the mix right now and going really well. So again, that's affecting the markets. Pre-Brexit paralysis, right? So they just kick the can on Brexit, right? So remember last week we talked about, hey, this weekend's going to be a big deal. Here it comes.
Right.
And what do most things ends up happening? They kick the can, right, for a little bit further, and they keep talking that they're close to a deal, to a deal. So
always tomorrow.
Yep. So all those things put together, basically what we saw this last week is we saw mortgage interest rates tick up a little bit, but not significantly, right? So I'd love to make this big deal about it, but it really was pretty flat, ticked up a little bit. So it just means that the cost for a rate, we've seen a cost for some of our rates. So if you want to still be at like 3.625, whereas that might have been just par, meaning it didn't cost anything, right? It's not, you don't get any credit back, but there's no cost. Well, now that 3.625 is probably going to have a little bit of cost to that rate. So I would tell everybody that we're in the high threes, mid to high threes on 30-year fixed, 15 years still low threes on 15-year fixed. It's cheap money. If there's a 3 in front of it, just be so happy, right? And we're seeing a lot of purchase business. Kind of we keep talking about how the fall, we start to get into our next market, right? Our third trimester, as you like to say, senior. So we're seeing some of that. So we're seeing the purchase business pick up, and then we have a lot of filler with the refi stuff that we just continue to evaluate and see what's going on. This week, to be honest, I didn't lock a lot because we're waiting. I think the market's going to have a little bit of a dip yet coming up. We read way too much of this stuff that would bore the tears out of, kind of like the first segment, just pretty tough to get through. No, I'm just kidding. That was very funny. But people don't care. All they need to know is that rates ticked up a little bit higher. I think we're going to come back down a little bit as well.
Still refi opportunities.
A lot of refi opportunities.
Over 4.5.
4.5. Oh yeah, 4.5. We take them down fast. And
we're doing some. Even a good rate.
4.5 is a great rate, right? Yeah. So, so a lot of good things happening. It's a great time of year. I love the fall. Football's going. Vikings are playing well. What else is there? Gophers are doing well. So, have a conversation with me, 651-231-2500. Love to have a conversation with you and talk about what you could do to put yourself in a better financial position. Remember, we always have our Second Look Rewards program. We also have our free appraisal if you mentioned the radio show. So a lot of good stuff going on right now. Just give me a call.
Thanks, Kelvin. That's it for this week. We'll be back next week with another great show, 612-627-8000. Hit nerdgroup.com. See you next week.